Hey, L-U-L-U-L-U-L-U-L-U-L-U-L-U. Oh, wait. Okay, it's so much easier for me to answer this talking to you. I don't even know how I'm going to upload this somewhere. Maybe I'll try to send this to you in an email. Okay, so here's the thing. I say the key is to have a plan and a prayer, because you're going to hear so many people try to deter you from joining the military. That's just the nature of it is. Everybody thinks the military is about no other opportunities, war, death, being abused, just a bunch of stuff. But again, I like to take my advice from people who have done what I'm looking to do. If you have not done what I'm trying to do, I don't even listen to you. So the plan for me when I joined the military was I knew I wanted to go into a field that can produce a job after I got out of the military. Back then, that was computers. And the same is this. It's true for today too. Computers is the thing. So I knew then that if I could not get into a computer field, I was not joining. And that's what I told them. And I was willing to wait. So have patience. When you go to join, they'll tell you anything. They'll say yes to everything you ever want. Most of the times, that's what they'll do. You may get somebody who's going to be honest and real with you, but be prepared that they're going to tell you anything. But guess what? This is your life. And in your life, you get to make wise decisions to run the business of your life. I look a hot mess. Look, I'm at McDonald's right now. I wanted breakfast and my son ate all the bread. So I'm out here on a McDonald's run and anyways, back to what I'm saying. Okay, so I knew that I was going to have patience, meaning that I was not going to be desperate to join the military. I was willing to wait for them to have a job, a MOS. I went in the Army in the field that I wanted. So if I would have went to, what's it called? MEPS. If I would have went to the MEP station and they would have said, oh, we don't have that, but we have this, and this, you can join in. Nope. I will come back. I don't care if it's a year later. I will come back to you have what I want. Because the bottom line is this. The decision you make is the decision for the rest of your life. So don't let a few months stop you from the rest of your life. So luckily for me, they had a job and I went in as a computer engineer, and it was a 6-year enlistment. And the reason why it was so long is because they was going to pay so much money for my training. And you know what? I may just go ahead and upload this on YouTube, because maybe other people, this would be good information for them as well. And so that was the plan. The second thing I say is to have a prayer. You're always going to have to keep a prayer on your heart. Why? Because there are just some circumstances on this planet that you will have no control over, that you can't even know is coming, like war, like horrible duty assignments. I always was a spiritual person. I always knew God loved me. I mean, he did. I always had so much favor. Even though I had a child at 16, even then I didn't even feel like, oh my goodness, I messed up. No, I knew that I was loved and that angels walked with me. So have a prayer, because let me tell you, when I was in Korea, and I chose to go to Korea, my first duty station, because I always heard that you're going to go overseas eventually. So I chose to choose when I went, and I wanted to go first because I had a son and I want to get it out the way so that I can come back and get back to the business of building a life for me and my son. So when I was in Korea, I came up on my next orders, which I didn't have control over. They wanted me to go to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And I think it was Fort Leavenworth. It was so long ago. Anyways, it was in Kansas. It was a duty station. And I remember thinking to myself, there aren't any black people in Kansas. The only black people in Kansas is like the Scarecrow and Toto and, that whole thing. So I really did not want to go to Kansas. I was used to being near my family. My family was in Virginia Beach, and I just didn't know what to do about that. So I went to the chow hall that same day that I got these orders, and I was in line and I was just kind of pouting. My energy was just low. And a guy was in front of me and he did not know me, and he asked me what was wrong. And I told him, I was like, I have orders to go to Kansas and I just don't want to go to Kansas. And he was like, well, where do you want to go? And I said, well, my family's in Virginia Beach. I want to be close to my family. I was a young girl. I was 21 at the time. And so he asked me for my social. And again, sometimes you're a little more naive, but me, I was trusting. I mean, I don't know. I just went with it. I gave him my social security number right in line. Do you know, 2 days later, he had my entire assignment change. I went to the Pentagon from there. And the Pentagon is where I remained the rest of my career. I did 7 years in the military. I was at the Pentagon for like 6 years. I just never came back on orders. I don't even know how. I don't know why. And that's where I say the prayer was effective, because God looked out for me. And I went in the military as an E1. In 4 years, I made it to E6. You can ask any counterparts who have had a military career. That is amazingly fast and usually unheard of as far as advancement in the military. So yeah, I think that, you know what? I feel like I was so protected. I was going to be great no matter what. I also think that from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to be successful, and money was always important to me. And I came up in a family that really didn't have any money. I'm not even sure what I've shared on this channel, but my life is pretty much an open book. My father, he was a drug addict. And so we had a rough life growing up. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So my father was the breadwinner, and then crack came along. So life was super hard. And again, having that child at 16 from the first time I had intercourse, got pregnant. Life, and then being on my own and trying to finish high school on my own with a kid and no babysitter. So I feel like, though, the strongest thing in my life was the fact that I was going to win. I was going to win. I was built to be a winner. I had no excuses, not even with a child. And I was willing to work as hard as I had to work. I was willing to outwork anybody I was going to work with. I was willing to sacrifice and work hard. I mean, I was just willing to do that. So I feel like I would have been successful no matter what. But I feel like the military was my path of least resistance. And it made it so much easier. It opened up a whole new world to me. Before joining the military, I did not even know black people went bowling. So, you know, it's like, what? We go bowling? I mean, and it was something as simple as, I remember I met this group of women that I took on as mentors. Like, I just made them my mentors. I looked up to them. It was in a book club. And they would have these discussions over books, and they would have tea, and the tea would sit on little saucers. And I just felt like that was the classiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I didn't even know anything about loose leaf teas, and they would put them in the little, I don't know what they're called still, the little spoon things with the strainers. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like, these are rich people. They weren't rich. But this was the path that the military put me on. And it just helped me to get great people that I could emulate, women to look up to, and changed my life. So there's my answer. I'm going to upload this on YouTube to answer this question for you. It's so much easier that way. Okay, thank you so much for asking the question, and thank you for watching the channel, and thank you for enduring looking at me while I'm looking like this. Until later, have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.